Time's up, Admiral.
Here it comes.
Hey, I remember this show.
I do too.
We talk anime once a month.
Yeah, this is usually when we're actually happiest.
Hail and howdy, everybody. Welcome back to Anime Odyssey. We were on an extended break because Dermy's work life sucks. And but we're back, ready to take some time to just talk anime. Weebs talk for the weebs. Anime fans, sometimes we get a bad rap. Sometimes we get a deserved little pointing finger. You're weird, but not us. We're normal weebs. We don't do anything creepy.
Well, I mean, I'm a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
I could have VTubers dancing in the background.
Oh my
beautiful neon light!
God, show canceled. You do that? No. I don't care if they're anime-esque. We're not doing that. I would veto that immediately. No. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. We are happy that you're joining us here on what is now going to be our Summer of Gundam.
That's right.
It's a special series of Anime Odyssey that'll run from May to September, celebrating Gundam, but we're celebrating a single series because it's very long. Over 100 episodes, if you include the movie, which can be broken down essentially into 6 episodes if you think about it. So we are going to be talking, starting tonight, Gundam Seed. Tonight is part one. Well, roughly part one. We'll have to decide where we kind of cut it
I think
off. I
the
think
best
after the
cutoff
duel.
part is yeah. That's the
I think
best cutoff.
after the duel, I think after the duel, where lots of people die, I think that's a good cutoff point. And then we go in June. We'll do part 2. We'll finish up Seed. Then in July, we're gonna go Destiny Part 1. In August, Destiny Part 2, and then in September, Freedom.
Oh fuck
Freedom.
yeah!
I will rewatch Freedom for that because I only saw it the one time.
I rewatched all of Seed right after I finished Freedom. And
See,
to let people know, I watched all of Seed in order from Seed, Destiny, Freedom. Then I did it all over again immediately after because I liked it so much.
I have been watched my first Gundam was Wing. That was my first Gundam. Then my second Gundam was G. Then I watched Little OG. Really wasn't enjoying it as I kept going with him. Like, I can't get into this. After watching the newer stuff, I really can't get into it. I tried. A little MS Team. I watched MS Team. And then if my order is correct, let me just check one thing here. Gundam. Let me just check one thing on a release date on one of these here. When did this release? God damn it. Okay, yeah. So then Seed was what I watched next. Because I remember I was in New York at culinary school, and they started airing the adjusted dub where they messed with the guns and they made them look weird and stuff like that, and they edited some things out, like you didn't see Kira and Flay have fun time in the flashback in that moment, all that kind of stuff. And then of course by the time Destiny premiered, I was there from the beginning because I was ready for it. It was already, let's go. And then I have owned them in various shapes and forms on DVD and this, that. And I have been watching Seed for literally 20 years over and over and over again because it is my favorite. I tried 00 after that and a couple others and didn't get in.
This is the beauty of Gundam is some of them are going to be good. Some of them are going to be bad. 00, I do like 00 a lot. They have a weird thing with their audio. By the way, it is really weird to see that your chat's popping off with Dom and Legatus fighting for #1 chat spot.
This chat thing is so stupid what they introduced last night.
I love
Have you seen it?
I just now seeing it. I love it for all the wrong reasons because it's retarded.
It's retarded. It's distracting.
They're trying to compete with Twitch because
is that what it is?
Twitch has a similar thing.
They were saying this afternoon. Yeah,
it's supposed to be. Twitch has these XP things that you can end up turning in those points to get like your chat noticed without paying.
But I already noticed my chat.
Well, I know it's mainly for bigger people. That's
but here's the thing that bugs me is think about like this. Think about a large channel with a very large stream and a large audience. The chat is scrolling crazy. No one's reading the chat clearly anyway when it's going a mile a minute.
They get special notifications when somebody does that. I don't know. Don't look at me. I don't know how it's going to work out.
It's hard. It's a test. They're testing it. I've heard it's not officially here forever, but
I don't dislike it. But I still think
I just think it's another distracting graphic on the chat.
That I can agree.
That's what I don't mind its existence. I don't like the implementation. Yeah, seeing the crown and the 1 and the 2 and the 3, it's distracting in an already distracting window.
Well, Legatus, here, I can tie this into Anime Odyssey, okay?
Okay.
Where the chat is now distracting and kind of gay looking because of this XP thing. You know what's not distracting and gay looking? The gorgeous mechs within Gundam. How each one is always super unique, super well designed and well thought out. And Seed exemplifies that. Holy hell, I didn't realize how beautiful every unit looked. Except for one. There's one that I really hate the design for, but that's going to be talked about next week.
Okay. The thing is this. That is one of the great... So now we're going to talk Seed. And now, we've talked about this before. The Gundam online community, and I'm going to say it without reservation, they're elitists. Most of them are elitists. They're snobs. In fact, they are the epitome of anime snobs. And I know there's a very large contingent that look down on anybody that likes Seed. In fact, their nickname is called them Seedlings. I learned that a couple years ago. My response: go fuck yourself. Seed is awesome.
Seed
is my favorite.
It went up there. I'm not gonna lie, it went up there in my tops. I'm a Universal Century boy. Watching Seed, I could see every single, like, hey, that's from the OG, that's from OG, that's from OG, but they managed to do it in a way that's more unique, dignifies itself, and as time goes on, it becomes its own thing.
It's the characters. This is one of the best Gundam casts I've ever seen. The complexity with which they're able to get into everybody's personal stories, their relationships, the arcs that everybody goes through. It's masterful. And at the same time, like you said, Gundam Seed through Destiny to Freedom. Oh, man, in Freedom. These are some of the best Gundam designs, official Gundam designs you've ever seen. I mean, there's a reason, to just jump ahead a little bit, there's a reason Strike Freedom is beloved as a Gundam design.
I have both Estrella, one of the Estrella red frames, and Strike Freedom right over here.
Yeah. I mean, one of my goals when I move and get in a better office for a better studio, one of the things that we'll have, I'm going to get a really nice Strike Freedom, a really nice one, and have it on display. Like,
I'm looking at one for $300.
Yeah, one of those ones, like one of the I'm going to get a few different ones. I'm going to get like a couple that are like action figure posable ones, but then I want a really nice statue one, like full Dragoon system deployed. I
know where a Gunpla is for that, and it's about $500. You have to buy.
I'm not going to put together.
I
don't want to put together a
system.
I don't want to put together a Gunpla though. I just want a nice done statue, not a Gunpla necessarily. I just want something nice because I don't know if I'm a Gunpla guy. That's the thing. I don't know if I'm that kind of guy.
Plastic crack, you'll love it.
Well, I already did that when I did Warhammer. I've been there, done that.
This is better plastic crack.
I know it's more intricate, but I don't know if I can. I don't know. Point is, I'm gonna have various Strike Freedoms out there because it's my favorite Gundam. It is because it's just such a badass, and I'm so glad that it survives. Yes, I love it. Anyway, that's a later topic for 3 months from now. Anyway, so we are going to talk Seed. Came out in 2002, I think was the premiere in Japan. Started airing on Toonami, specifically Toonami, not even Adult Swim, on Toonami late night in 2003, because I was in New York when it started airing and I started watching it. And it's glorious. And this is where they had that special animation style change too. They they really went to that sleek, pretty people look that I really love. I like that. I love the
slick, pretty people on top of like the sharp edges and the sharp corners, which I prefer that look too. They do that in Code Geass, and I prefer it.
Yeah, it's the same kind of art style. I love that art style, especially when you get to the women. Gundam always has pretty girls. Gundam Seed has the most beautiful women in the entire series, I think. The entire franchise. I mean,
Gundam is known for beautiful, beautiful, beautiful women.
But you've got in the Seed franchise alone, Maru and her copious bosom. Maru is your MILF mommy. She is your MILF. You go farther down the line. They're all, even for a minute, Kigali even looks hot at times, and I'm not exactly a Kigali fan. Then, of course, Lacus. And I will say Lacus, they only changed it in Freedom. For 20 years, they pronounced it Lacus, not Lacus. I'm saying Lacus because that's the way they said it for 20 plus years. Suddenly you change it in one movie? No, I'm sorry.
No, they didn't change it in Freedom. It was in my version of Destiny, they had it. My version of Seed, they had it.
Not in my version. I have the original ones, even the remastered versions. I have the remastered versions of Seed and Destiny. It's still Lacus in those. It's still Lacus Klein. And they even say Kira Yamato. It's Kira Yamato. It's not Yamato. It's Yamato. It's
that one I can agree with.
That's they changed a bunch of things that, to me, that bugs me. So I mean, I have the versions I have were the remastered ones released last decade. that's current ones. I mean, I had the DVDs, but when the remastered ones came out, I got the remastered versions because the Blu-rays is glorious. Because remember, original Seed and Destiny was 4:3, remastered 16:9, glorious widescreen. It's beautiful. But some of the greatest designs ever. The dudes, even the dudes, when they're kind of, I don't want to say femboys, but they're wafy. You know, a lot of masculine. They're not as masculine as some other things. They still look masculine. And then you have like the epitome of masculinity in Lula Flaga. That is the epitome of Chadism right there. The Hawk of Endymion.
The pilot that can make miracles happen.
The man who makes the impossible possible. Lula Flaga.
God, I want to talk about his. They managed to make a 3-series character arc with that fucking man, and it's beautiful. I love him.
I mean, we'll talk about it. It's great. I mean, Mu is a fantastic character, but I want to start with this. Every Gundam series has, since the original, has their Char clone.
Mm-hmm.
Has a Char clone. I want your opinion on Rao La Crusade as a Char clone.
So, my opinion is this. So, for those of you who aren't aware, Gundam Seed is supposed to be Universal Century essentially revamped. Universal Century is the OG. That is where it all began. That's your Amuros, your OG Gundam, all that stuff. And that's where Char Aznavour comes in. So La Crusade should be a direct comparison to Char. When you watch the start of Universal Century and then compare it to Seed, it's almost shot for shot, just different variations. It's kind of like this is chocolate ice cream and that's hot fudge ice cream. They're the same, but kind of different.
Except the Gundams are way more powerful.
Yes. What I'll say about La Crusade is I don't like him as a Char clone.
Okay.
I like him as his own unique character.
Okay. Well, he is unique. He is not Char.
Yeah, he's not Char. And the reason I'm saying that is, and we're not going to talk about like La Crusade's whole thing.
Not until next month.
Next month,
yeah.
Like La Crusade as a character is not the same as Char. Where I'll kind of say this. Char's whole goal is to take down Zeon and take it over for himself, where La Crusade's whole goal is
he's a nihilist. He's a
nihilist who wants to end it all.
Yeah.
Which is two very different groups.
Which is why I love Rao. And Rao, thing about Rao, and we'll talk about this more next month, there's no forgiving. Rao doesn't change. Rao is Rao from beginning to end. There's no sympathy for Rao. There's nothing. Rao is just evil. And he chooses to, the thing is, he chooses to be evil. And we'll talk about it in August when we talk about Rao and Rey, which is fascinating dichotomy. And also that's kind of the biggest storylines of Destiny and stuff like that, which again, we will talk about in Freedom and how that goes. Here's what's great about this whole thing. It all connects so nicely. Some say this, originally people said, oh, they're just rehashing everything. No, if you've watched this and understand it, the underlying story of, do genetics predetermine who you are? The argument by some is yes, that is what they believe. Coordinators, and let's get into the actual lore of the Seed universe, the Seed timeline. In the Seed timeline, instead of like the evolved new types for Xeon and stuff like that, we instead have genetically altered DNA of humans who become coordinators. Essentially, literally down to the very little chromosome, they alter everything to make perfection. I mean, there's a reason Lacus can sing so beautifully, is because she was made that way. Coordinators believed that they were the next evolutionary step of humans. Naturals, the regular humans, think that they're an abomination, and there comes the conflict. Of course, I think one of the things also that Seed does so well is everybody's kind of the bad guy. Both sides are horrifically bad.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in OG, you kind of want to side with Earth.
So here, this is where I'm going to differ. So,
okay,
one in OG, the main story is is more a story of freedom and self-determination, and this idea of or should, because it's also a World War II allegory as well wrapped up within it, because Xeon is default Yahtzees, but they do have some point of like, hey, they are more or less correct that they deserve freedom and their own legitimacy and stuff like that. That's Universal Century. Universal Century, yes. OG Gundam, Earth good guys, space bad guys. But as Universal Century started to unfold and you got more of the story from within that overall arc, that overarching universe of Xeon versus Earth, neither side's good.
Yeah, but in Seed, in part 1, we're put on the side of Earth Alliance forces.
Yes.
Because they're the ones they're the ones that Kira ends up with. But you realize the whole war actually starts because of the Bloody Valentine massacre, where the organization known as Blue Cosmos, the big corpos that run everything, launched a nuclear attack on what was the colony one in that one? Shit, I don't remember all of a sudden. I think it was July, based on July. Anyway, they destroyed a colony and it was annihilated. And it serves as like a tombstone in space. And that started the war. And then in response to that, the coordinators, or we call them the plants, they seeded the entire Earth with N-Gemmer cancelers, which both causes the inability for a nuclear reaction to happen. So nukes are all disabled. And at the same time, it F's with communications. So it makes it hard to communicate on Earth and from Earth to space, unless you have like laser guided stuff like that. So suddenly you're in it's a ugly war. And then of course, because the plants have superior technology, because coordinators, and here's the thing now, coordinators are the only ones capable of piloting a mobile suit because of their advanced eye-hand coordination and ability to comprehend the data flowing and all that kind of stuff. Regular naturals can't do it, which is why the whole story begins where what is the name of the corporation that works for Orb? Yeah.
Oh, what's the name? I can't remember the name.
Remember.
I always remember.
It's one of those little. It's one of those little things that slips away. Morgenstern. The Morgenstern Corporation, which is actually the official corporation of Orb, which we'll get to Orb next time. We don't really get a lot of Orb in the first part here. They were little bit. They were secretly working with Ursuline's forces to make their own versions of mobile suits, Kira calls them a Gundam because the Gundam is actually an acronym for the operating system of the whole thing. Problem is, they're all idiots. They don't have the programming genius to make the operating system translate to a natural. So they couldn't really make them work. So what happens, the whole thing starts off, we're on a colony that's not really part of the main plant. It's just one of these neutral territory colonies.
It's a neutral territory that is connected to Orb.
Yeah,
and Orb,
it's an Orb
not
colony.
It's not a part of the official war, so they are essentially outside of it all.
Yeah, and naturals and coordinators live on the colony in harmony, essentially, like they would in Orb. So what happens is we get introduced to Kira Yamato and his band of friends, who are just, as with every old school Gundam, kids get pulled into the war and become child soldiers, which is one of the common themes in Gundam. And they really do this one well, because more so than ever, as Kira has more and more of the responsibility as the defender of the Archangel, all that stuff, as it gets put on him, his mental deterioration in the first half of the season is fantastic, because you go through so many different levels of how he copes, and eventually leading to sexual manipulation by Flay.
Yeah. Although she can sexually manipulate me any day of the week.
Yes,
but
listen.
At the same time, they are like 19 in the show. So I'll accept that. Because they're in college.
They're in their late teens. They're
in college.
Everybody's 16 to 18 at this point in this. They all are. So
they said they're in college. That's all I know. What I will say, which you brought up, like how it all starts, and then like the deterioration of Kira over the period of time, which this is one of the things where it does separate itself out from OG, where chocolate ice cream, hot fudge ice cream, where they both start within a colony. But then Amuro gets into the very first Gundam unit ever made that was also designed by his father, whereas Kira gets into one of the very first Gundam units ever made, designed by a completely separate organization. There's 4 of them. He gets his own unique one, but at the same time...
No, there's 5. There's 5. The strike is...
Oh, yeah, there's 5. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
there's 5.
yeah.
So there's 5 of them. There's not one. It's not made by his father. It's not really made by anybody connected to him. He chooses to get to be into there, where Amuro was kind of like forced into it. And as time goes on, Amuro has his own like mental deterioration, but what his is he really just doesn't want to be there, period. And he gets annoyed when people want to take the Gundam away from him, and he kind of acts like a child and gets smacked around a few times, rightfully so. Whereas with Kira, he feels obligated to do this, and that's
he's empathetic. He hates. He's so afraid to let people die.
Yes,
and he's so afraid to fail people that put their trust in him. But at the same time, he doesn't want to kill. He desperately doesn't will, but he's forced to kill. Like the first time he has to kill somebody, it shakes him to his core, and it takes like Mu to get him out of it a little bit. But then it just keeps escalating to the point where he's the only defense. I mean, the Archangel, and I love the Archangel of the ship. I love it. It's fantastic. But the Archangel...
We'll talk about my favorite later.
I know. Well, we can't get there yet. Yeah, but listen. When we get there, I'm okay. I mean, my heart broke during Freedom. You understand what? My heart broke. But I'm okay with where we ended up. It was let's just say it's the best of both worlds, and you'll understand that as we go forward.
Yes, you will understand it.
It is the best of both worlds, and I was so damn okay with it by the time we got to it. But Kira is the only, because even though Mu is a new type, and that's the brilliant thing, that's the callback, that's the perfect callback to OG, that Mu and Rao are both new types. Point is, Kira is a coordinator and a new type. He's the perfect coordinator. And that's what allows him to, because Kira's a literal genius. Because when we get, here's what happens now. So he's on the colony. The colony gets attacked because Plant forces. I don't know.
Zaft.
Zaft. Yeah, Zaft. The Zaft forces. So Zaft is the military faction, the military of the plants. Zaft forces, led by, we will learn eventually, Kira's best friend, Athrin Zala, infiltrate to steal the Gundams, to steal the Strike, the Aegis, the Blitz, the Duel, and I forget what the one that
Breaker. Gundam Breaker?
No. It's the one. It's the one with the camouflage on it. I suddenly forget its name.
I thought that was Blitz.
No. Blitz is the one that Isaac pilots. Blitz is the one that has the dual shoulder cannons.
Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah, so it's
Strike. I know which
Aegis,
one you're talking
Duel.
about. It's my personal favorite. Actually.
Strike, Aegis, Duel, Blitz, and then the 5th one is the one that
give me a moment.
That the green-haired one pilots. I suddenly forget his name too. The one that
I know which one you're talking about,
yeah,
because it's my favorite design out
it's
of
got the spikes on the fire. It has the camouflage on it.
It's my favorite design out of the first 6. That's why I like it so much. Here, let's go to Gundam.
It gets so little playtime that I forget.
No, Blitz is the dark one with the
Blitz is the shoulder cannons that Isaac dual pilots.
No, that's
no,
that's
the dual
Buster. But you're thinking of Buster is the one that
Buster is the double cannon that Diarca pilots.
Duel is the one that Isaac pilots. Blitz.
Oh, that's the Blitz.
Dark one.
The Blitz is the one. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I literally just pulled it up because it was like
Strike, Aegis, Duel, Blitz, and Buster. I think I can. Yeah. Those are all of them. Yeah. So the Blitz gets very little playtime overall. It only gets a couple of moments of shining.
One really cool moment.
Well, when they use it to infiltrate the impassable shield base, but it phases through the shields because it's invisible and then destroys it from the inside. That's Nico's shining moment, and then he gets killed.
I think it's Nico. Is it Nico?
It's Nickel. I always heard Nickel.
A lot of the names. Listen, I
believe it's spelled Nikol. I believe that's how it's.
I remember Athrin and I remember Kira.
Listen,
those are the easiest ones to remember.
I've watched this for 20 years. I actually know everybody's names. for the most part. I know all the major player names.
You call it.
I mean, listen,
Lacus.
listen, best girl order is, and that's for all of it. Lacus is best girl overall. Maru is my MILF hot throb. I have a thing for Mirielle Howe. I have a thing for Mirielle Howe. I have a thing for her. She's like your everyday girl, and she's.
I have a thing for the what's her name?
Which one?
I have her Natara Badgerol.
Natara Badgerol.
Yeah, Badgerol. I have a thing for Badgerol.
What? I mean, talk about another great complicated character that goes. No, next month. Natara gets so much greatness at the end.
She gets so much better than she was. But goddamn, there's something about her.
That's she's a bitch on wheels for 75% of the series. Bitch on wheels, but her at the end.
This is something you can bring up right now because it's not at the end. The reason why she's a bitch on wheels is because they openly talk about it relatively early on that she comes from a long line of soldiers. She believes very highly in the rule,
she's a rule follower.
She's a rule follower. She believes in that. She thinks that is necessary for a functioning ship and
also
crew.
Anything goes for victory too. If you gotta do dirty shit on the battlefield, she's all for it.
Yeah, she's fine with that. She's kind of a perfect encapsulation of the Earth forces at the very beginning, where you kind of see them. Whereas our actual captain, Maru,
big tits Ramius.
Yeah, Maru Ramius. She is kind of her counterpart, where Ramius isn't really your usual captain.
She wasn't supposed to be a captain. I mean,
she wasn't supposed to be a captain. She's not. She doesn't really do it well, and she's very lackluster with the rules and takes it her own way.
Yeah, and she develops her style on the fly. It turns out in the end to be a fantastic captain. But by the time you get all the way through, Maru is an outstanding captain. By the time you get to the end of it, she's very competent. But it's nothing. She was trained to be a military officer, but on the logistics side, on the thinking side, not in the command side. And so her being put into and in this one, she's like captain in name in the terms of she's a commander. But when you're in charge of a boat, you're going to be called captain. That's just them's the rules. Because listen, Mu is a higher rank than her, but he's a fighter jockey. He ain't a commander. He's a fighter jockey. He's an on the field guy. So what happens though? Back to the story. Athrun and his team infiltrate. Athrun, Izak, Diarca, Nickel, and Rusty, who gets aced instantly. Never meet Rusty. You see him in a couple of flashbacks, what he looks like in montages for intros and outros. But Rusty gets aced right away. Rusty was supposed to be the pilot of the strike. But what happens is they all get the Aegis, the Blitz, the Duel, and the Buster. But because Rusty dies, they didn't get the strike. And now we're talking chaos. They bust in. It's a massacre. It's terrible. And they are what is called the La Crusade team. There's a couple of battleships outside, cruisers on the outside, which are causing havoc. And what happens then is because while everything's going down, we actually meet everybody technically in these opening moments. Kira, Athrun, Maru, Mu, Kigali. You get Kira's group from Flay to Nuzzy.
I know
Cuzzy.
You see the fatter dude. You see attractive chick and the guy that she was interested in. Then you see Flay and then Sunglasses.
Yeah, that's I forget the Sunglasses guy's name all of a sudden. I can't remember his name because he's here in Seed. He disappears in Destiny. He becomes back in Freedom. So but they all get drawn in and meet all them. You meet Rao, you meet Mu. So a lot of the major players are introduced in the very first episode, which is one of those amazing things that anime can do. In just like a minute, in one episode, they can get everything in there, and it doesn't feel jam-packed. You don't feel overwhelmed. Maybe it's one as a veteran anime watcher, you realize you've just been shown a lot of your cast, but you don't have to dwell on them in that moment because they're going to get reintroduced properly over time. The only major people missing going down the line is we don't get Lacus for like 10 episodes. And you don't get some of the power players of Zaft and Earth Forces until later on too.
And you don't get Kigali's partner.
Oh yeah, the yeah. I forget his name too.
I only can remember his face.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
his name is.
Yeah, he's basically a colonel in the
Yeah.
Orb forces. But so there's just a few extra people you don't get, but you get everybody there. So right away, and it starts brilliantly because right away you learn that is it the second episode or the third episode where you learn about that Mu and Rao are connected through the new type.
I think that's the second episode technically because yeah, I think it's the second episode because that's when you see more of the fight. Because when the first episode goes on,
It
the
ends
fight
with
starts
Kira
off and it
in the
ends with Kira
cockpit.
getting into the cockpit.
Yeah.
The second episode is more like kind of starts off with Kira chasing. No, that's the third episode when they get into White Base. Yeah, not White Base, but Archangel. So yeah, third episode starts with him within Archangel. So yeah, so second episode is where you see more of the fights, and
that's the initial fight. That's where
Yeah.
Kira basically reprograms the strike on the fly, and you get a taste of the genius that Kira is. That he literally reprograms it with one hand.
But it is during the second episode when you see that there's something with Mu and
the new type thing where they can sense each other, and right away some of the best initial Gundam action is and talk about a simple fight. The Zaku replacement, which all go away when you get to Destiny.
They just quit trying. They just go with the full names.
Let's call them Zakus and Goofs. Let's just forget
Zaku, Goofs, Doms. Let's just go with it.
We're not going to mess around.
Trying.
Get it in there. They get that going. I think it was a Jin that he's fighting in the beginning there.
I think they are Jin. They're called Jins at the beginning.
I think they're the first one he fights with Jins. But right away, Kira fights it with a freaking dagger and just suddenly piles it.
I don't think his armor was even activated at that
time. He at the last second he gets it going, and that's the trick. Now that is the special nature of the Gundams in Gundam Seed is the ablative armor that they turn on, and eventually it's basically energized armor that can absorb just about anything it takes. And first generation Gundams in this timeline, there's a time limit because you have energy. So because nuclear. No one's figured out how to make nuclear energy work yet. You're out? Okay. All right. Dermy's going to come back in a second, guys. He has a usual problem with StreamYards with that. It kicks him out audio. So it's just me. Anyway, so as I was explaining, for those who don't know, the Gundams in Seed operate on essentially a time limit because they get their ablative armor. And I don't think it's called that. I forget the term suddenly. It escapes me. But it colorizes them. It gives them their unique colors and all kinds of stuff. That's how if they don't have those on, they are generally just gray in the first half of the season. But they turn it on and they basically then get super powered and they're basically indestructible. You still up?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay. So once they have the armor turned on, they're essentially indestructible to conventional weapons. And that's what makes them unique. But then they're on a time limit because eventually the energy runs out and they got to retreat. Because once the time limit is gone, then the armor is as weak as anything can be. Because that we've seen it
goes back to basically similar armor to maybe a goof, not a goof,
regular mobile suit. Any regular
mobile suit.
Yeah. Frankly, a little more. I would say honestly, without the armor on, without the armor turned on, these Gundams are a little weaker actually because they get beat up real fast when that armor's off. Like arms and legs fall right off.
Well, I would say I'm saying they're about the same as a normal mobile suit, mainly because you don't really see them battle anything else except another Gundam without that power.
True.
So when you have to take that into account, and we already know that the Gundams themselves, they are stronger than your average mobile suit. So if the Gundam is tearing apart another Gundam, then you know that they're relatively, without the armor itself, about the same as a normal mobile suit.
Now, in this early part, we get the full display. Well, once all the mobile suits are in full action, let's skip ahead a little bit because usual stuff. Archangel, our flagship of the series, launches. Kira's got to defend it as they're on a journey to try and relink up with the Earth Forces fleets. Constantly being hounded by Zaft, the La Crusade team, and all that kind of stuff.
they also have refugees on their ship, so
Yeah.
that gives Kira even more of a incentive to
Mhm.
try to actually like protect these people.
Yep. Now, before we do that, I want to just let's go over our Star Gundams because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Gundams, the Star Gundams of the first half of the series. We'll start, of course, with the star of the show, the Strike, your standard blue, white, and red Gundam. Except now we get something a little different. The first time we get the interchangeable armor type of stuff because the Strike is a multi-purpose platform mobile suit where you have its I guess the jetpack version. I forget what it's called.
You get the usual so there's gun version, which I can never remember any of their actual names,
I
but
know
gun
it's
version
called
has
the
the jetpack.
Isle. Yeah, there's the jetpack, which allows it to be
Then
maneuverable. Yeah,
yeah, that actually,
which is
gun
it's
version, cannon version, blade version. Blade version is my
basically
favorite, but
they believe they call it the Buster swords, the Buster. So
it might be the Buster version.
maybe they call that they call that for in Destiny. They call it the Buster. Well, no, they call it the well. Anyway, they all have different names. My most recent rewatch was a few months ago, so the names kind of flit away. But anyway, so the Strike is a multi-purpose thing depending on what it's fighting. Yeah, like you said, Derby said, there's a standard which is the jetpack with a beam saber and a regular laser cannon, which has your standard hold it, aim through the shield, so while you're guarding and shielding, that kind of thing, which Kira gets better and better at as time goes on. You've then got the sword, which is basically big ass giant laser sword, which
I fucking
is
love
stronger than the beam sword because it's got metal behind it, so it's heavier. Then you've got your essentially double-barreled plasma cannon setup, which is for heavy artillery. That one doesn't have a lot of mobility, but it's
very dangerous to shoot because that's what ends up. I believe that was what destroyed the
Kira's. Yeah, Kira's uncontrolled shot is what opens up the hole in the colony in the beginning there. So that's the Strike, our hero Gundam, and Kira's going to utilize every one of those reconfigurations throughout the first half of the series, mostly relying on your standard jetpack because that's the standard Gundam look. It's that right behind us in the thumbnail. That's your standard Strike look. Then you've got the Aegis, piloted by Athrun, which is a fascinating thing because it's in the first part of the series, it's the only transformable Gundam. Because what it can do is it can transform to be a high-charged plasma cannon blast, and it can grapple onto things and fire through and then ungrapple, so you can't escape or dodge it. It's also equipped with built-in yellow beam sabers, and making it very hard to fight from multiple angles. And Athrun is the second best pilot in all of Gundam Seed. Kira is still better. In the end, Kira is still better. But then after that, you've got the Duel, piloted by Isaac Jewell, who is just who's your standard asshole, your standard belligerent asshole who wants glory, and he does some despicable things. Although it's war, so you're not. Here's the beautiful thing about this: they all do despicable things, but you can't hate them because it's literally war.
No, I hate Isaac.
I don't hate Isaac. I like his belligerence because it's a perfect balance between.
He grows on you as the story continues, but what he does at the beginning, I don't think is. I can't. You can be war all you want.
When he does the thing that breaks Kira. In Isaac's defense, he didn't know that was a civilian shuttle.
But he's still a jackass.
Oh, he's jackass. I mean, he shot it. But he didn't know. I'm not going to blame him for killing civilians entirely because he didn't know. And also, they shouldn't have sent that shuttle out during that period of time. They should not have sent that shuttle out into that battle. That was bad idea. Bad idea. Anyway, then you've got the Buster, piloted by Diarca, who is your general laid back kind of dude bro. He's a dude bro.
He's a dude bro. He starts off as a dick, but he grows on you.
Well,
he grows on you better than Isaac does.
Well, that's because Diarca grows. He grows a conscience due to his interactions in the second half, which are again brilliant character work. And the Buster. Well, think about the Duel. Duel has multiple armament. It gets re-outfitted, double shoulder cannons, extra gun, beam saber, stuff like that. The Buster is your artillery Gundam. where it's got a dual wielding cannon, but he can combine the cannon for a bigger blast, which he does very often. It's like the most used animation for the Buster.
Mhm.
And then you've got the Blitz, piloted by Nickel. And that thing is unique because it's got a camouflage system, which is barely used because it was still experimental, but it's also generally got a very, I guess, projectile-based
It
combo
has
spikes.
it's supposed to be more like a infiltration kind of
Yeah.
spike based. I like the Blitz. I like the design of the Blitz the best because I like the
It's a good
darker
color scheme.
Gundams. Plus, I like the color scheme. Plus, I like the sleeker look of the Gundam
Mhm.
because I think it has a
Mhm.
nicer kind of design to it.
So those are our Gundams for the first half of the
Mhm.
series. And hail and howdy, everybody's been coming in while we've been chatting. We hope you're having a good time as we talk Gundam. Now, for those of you who may be coming into an Anime Odyssey, since we've been off for a couple months, we might have some new viewers. We range all over the place in these discussions. When it's just me and Dermy, we range all over the place. We'll jump back and forth, but we do have a cutoff limit for this discussion. We are stopping at the duel of Kira and Athrun when they have their final battle in the first half of the series, where
Which is a
Athrun-
perfect break off
Yeah,
point
yeah.
too.
because then the Gundams, you always know you're in the next half of a Gundam season when the Gundams change, when you get your upgrades. And then we're going to get our upgrades. Anyway, so those are our pilots and our Gundams. And we're not going to go over every little thing that happens here because we'll be here. Or we'd love to. We'd be
Oh,
here.
I would love to. Oh, we could talk all about like the from the satellite or
to the base,
the colony to the base
everything.
and
Yeah.
Blitz and what it does. Then you can
It's-
go. I'd say the most important part now though would be to go to the war, the thing that breaks Flay, and then the war above Earth.
Yeah. So
Well, no, we also have to get to Lacus.
there's parts. So the chase happens essentially, as I said before. The La Crusade team is hounding the Archangel constantly, or they call it the Legate ship. They're constantly hounding it, and we get battles back and forth all the time between Kira and the other pilots. And at certain points, nobody knows who they are. Like they're just fighting blindly until it comes a point, though, where Athrun hears that it's Kira on board.
Mhm.
And we get the story of Athrun and Kira. They're childhood friends. They grew up together. Athrun is a genius in his own right. Athrun's a robotics genius. Kira's a computer genius. Athrun's a robotics genius. He can just in this universe, he makes the Harus. Haro.
He makes the Haros, and he made
Birdie.
Kira's Birdie.
Birdie. I love Athrun's creations are out. This is my favorite Haros, especially Lacus's Haro. Original pink Haro is the best Haro.
Yes.
He is the best Haro. All the other ones are annoying as fuck.
The blue one's kind of cool.
But there's only pink Haro. Mr. Pink is the best. But you've got them not knowing it. So they got separated due to the fact that after the Bloody Valentine massacre, which Athrun's mother died in, Athrun's father, Chairman
Zala. He's I don't remember his first name right now, but
I'll remember it in a minute as we keep talking. It'll come back to me. Anyway, he took his son away to train him in full military because that's when Patrick Zala became radicalized, where he truly believed that naturals must be eradicated from everything. Now, Athrun doesn't believe that. Athrun is a trained soldier, but thing about Athrun is, like Kira, he doesn't have a killer instinct. He doesn't really want to kill. He does it because he was trained to do it, and he believes in defending the plants from another atrocity like Bloody Valentine. Just like Kira, he doesn't have killer instinct, but his natural abilities as what we will eventually call the perfect coordinator come into play. Because think about a coordinator, their reflexes are perfect. They're physically stronger, faster, everything. And Kira is the best, but we can't really talk about that till next month when we get the crucial episodes towards the end where all is revealed. And so once Athrun learns that Kira is piloting the strike, he's constantly trying to get in touch with him, saying, Kira, why are you fighting for Earth forces? Look what they did to Look what they did to my mom when they destroyed the plants.
Look what they did to my mom. They're not. They're just using you. They don't care about you. You're just another coordinator to them.
And that is kind of reflected with Flay.
Mm-hmm.
Flay is a racist.
Flay's a super racist. Well, I would say Flay went from being ditzy to being forced to understand the world to then being a full-fledged racist.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about this. What happens is during their various attempts to reconnect with Earth forces, at one point, her dad, who's essentially a politician on Earth, basically bullies his way onto a ship to come and meet them. He has no business being in space, but he comes on ship to do that. And during the attempted sending of refugees over to his ship gets destroyed. I think it's is it by Atherin or Ezak?
I think it was Ezak.
I think it's Ezak. His ship gets destroyed. Well, either way.
Because Atherin was busy taking Atherin was taking Lacuse at that time. Because
Lacus?
Yeah.
Oh, this is after that. Oh, yeah, right. This is after the Lacus episode. It's before. It's before because Lacus's presence upsets Flay because she instantly distracts Kira. I'm pretty sure.
No, because the way they ended up getting everybody to run away is by Kira going out there and handing off Lacus to stop.
No, that's at a separate point. Her dad.
Oh, is that a separate point?
That's a separate point. That's a separate point.
Okay, you might be right.
I'd separate because you have to. Because here's the thing. At one point, when we finally get introduced to Lacus Klein, daughter of Siegel Klein, who is essentially the current chairman of the plants, who wants peace. He's not a pacifist.
He's not like the rest of them.
He's not a pacifist, but he doesn't want unrestricted war, and he doesn't want needless war, needless killing. He's trying to find a settlement, and he's going to get politically pushed aside by Patrick Zala and the hardliners. But Lacus was out there. She was out there doing a tour of the Bloody Valentine site because she was going to do a memorial thing. Problem is, they encounter some Earth forces and her escort gets destroyed. And she gets picked up by Kira and the Archangel. Now, at this point, we've also learned that we've already been introduced to her because Atherin went home. We learned that they have an arranged marriage. They're going to be married to unite the political parties, essentially. They've known each other for years, and they care about each other, but it's a platonic thing. Atherin and Lacus are not in love. It's purely platonic. They respect each other. He gives her all the Harus as gifts and stuff like that. And we also learned that Lacus is the songstress. She is part of she's intricately intertwined into plant society as her songs give peace to everybody.
She is the peacekeeper. She's the calmer. She's the person. She goes out there and sings, and she's known for their singing. I wouldn't say she's an idol. She's not.
No, she's not an idol. No. Mir is an idol. Mir is an idol. Lacus is not.
Yeah.
Lacus is like a professional. She's a professional. But Lacus is the sleeping giant. Lacus is the sleeping giant that gets awakened by this whole thing. She is somebody that was perfectly happy to sing her songs, to be nice to everybody, to be pleasant, she was happy being a figurehead. She was happy being that. But circumstances force her to be more. And it starts when she gets picked up by Kira in this random moment where they're looking for supplies. Because one of the things that the Archangel needs, they're low on water, they're low on food. So they're constantly scrounging at basically scrap yards and fleet battle remnants for anything they get their hands on. And they go get water from the Bloody Valentine remains, which is kind of gross because there's like dead bodies in it and everything, and everybody's kind of freaking out. It's a great episode. People are disgusted, but what are you going to do? You're gonna die?
Really good episode.
It's great. But they pick up Lacus.
You see bodies.
You see bodies. And they're frozen in space. It's the thing. These are the remains of people that got sucked into space after a nuclear missile blew up their colony.
And you see kids, you
Yeah.
see teddy bears, you see all sorts of. It's really offsetting.
People
'cause you
throw
see
up.
them just floating
People
there.
throw up when they go to, I mean, characters throw up.
Mhm.
They're sick, but they have to push it aside because they need water to survive. So they pick up Lacus, and this is what we call the fateful meeting of the series, the entire Gundam Seed series, the fateful meeting, Kira and Lacus, a meeting that was not supposed to happen. Lacus Klein is not supposed to come in contact with Kira Yamato, as we sort of learn way, way, way down the timeline. They were not supposed to ever come into contact because Kira's existence flies in the face of Lacus's existence, a perfectly planned, predetermined being. And there's an instant connection. And and now Lacus is best girl. She's kind, she's sweet, she's friendly. She instantly looks for the good in people. And she is, at this point, very innocent. Oh, I had to leave my room. Mr. Pink didn't want to stay in here anymore. So he just unlocked the door. I don't know how he keeps doing it. And she doesn't. That's the thing. She doesn't. At that point, she doesn't. She gets smarter later on. She knows exactly what she's doing the more the series goes on.
Mhm.
But at that point, she's wandering around. And what we have in there is what, like we said, up until this point, prior to this, Flay had been massively racist about coordinators. And when her dad dies in a previous battle, it flips like a full hatred switch. And what she does is she both loves and despises Kira. She's attracted to him for being a warrior, but at the same time, she hates him. And I'm going out of order in this, guys, because we skipped ahead to Lacus when we should have finished with Flay first. I'm sorry.
That's primarily my fault. I forgot what order it happened.
Yeah. And what happens is after that, Flay enlists, even though she never actually has a job on the Archangel. She just gets the pink uniform and never actually gets to do a little bit. Never actually has a job, unlike Mirielia, who gets bridge training, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
What Flay does then, she does something that, Jeremy, you can confirm better than I can. The most despicable psychological manipulation on a hero.
I love me some torture porn. I love me some misery shit. What she did is fucking awful. I've not seen that in Gundam before. I've not seen that in most of my shit. And I'm like, you're up there with like Griffith levels of disgusting.
So what she does is, after her dad dies and she realizes that Kira is Superman, essentially, she says, I'm going to use him to kill everybody and then make him kill himself. He's going to die doing it for me.
She wants him to die defending them.
Yeah.
That is her fucking goal. And it is ruthless. And
we get to a point where, at one point during in between a battle, we don't know it until after Sai, that's Sai is the guy with the glasses name. That was her boyfriend, who was essentially another arranged marriage. It was another arranged marriage,
but they kind of like each other.
And she dumps him for Kira. And at one point, right before a battle starts, she had a breakdown. He thought after everybody criticized her for going on another racist rant, Sai goes to give her dinner and tell her it's okay, I understand. She wasn't in her room. Because right before that battle, she went to Kira's room to comfort him during one of Kira's cry sessions. And let's be honest, Kira cries a lot in the first season. He's Mr. Crybaby because he's not mentally equipped for this. And this is one of those times where it's like, you're not going to criticize a character for crying, because we're talking about a 16, 17-year-old kid who is not equipped for war. Athrun only cries after Nickel dies because he lost his friend. Kira cries because of the constant onslaught of
he hates being thrown into this. He doesn't like killing people, and he's forced into this position where he feels like he's the only one that can go out there and do this.
He is. Mu in the Skygraph, not Skygraph. Skygraph's the other one. Mu in his mobile armor can't keep up with the pilots. He can one-on-one. He could take one of the Gundam pilots one-on-one because he's just that damn good. But if there's multiple ones, he can't take on multiple Gundams in the mobile armor, which has a semi-Dragoon system to it. But so Kira cries a lot, and Flay starts to comfort him when he cries. And in that instance, and we don't learn it till like later on in the episode when we're seeing a fight where Kira's out there fighting for his life, he gets flashbacks and you see her effing him, man. I mean, there's some side boob action in that too. There's side boob action, and she's smiling down at him, and there's like hand grasping that they went all the way, and so you realize she uses sex to manipulate Kira, which makes complete sense. You're a teenager.
Plus, Kira was shown to have interest in Flay at the very beginning. He liked her.
Yeah, he was attracted to her. So it's very easy, and this is why this is very simple yet perfect storytelling. Young men of that age can easily be manipulated with sex. Easily.
And women do it all the time.
But Flay takes a step further. She's not just getting him to do what she wants for sex. She's using it to bind him to her, to make him fight harder, to protect her and everybody else. So that's messed up. And she knows she's doing it. And that's why she both hates him and she eventually does love him in a sick and twisted way.
She loves him in a sick and twisted way. So that jumping ahead of real quick, when they go to Orb and she has nobody to be there for, like, to go meet, she lashes out at Kira because Kira's trying to comfort her.
Yeah.
And she's pissed.
Vicious. It's a vicious moment. But in this instance, so now we skip forward. When Lacus arrives on the Archangel, when they're holding her hostage, because now there's a whole subplot in that in Badger Rule. She wants to use her for full-on hostage negotiations. We have your princess. We have your princess. You will give us what we want and let us through. But
or we'll kill her.
Or we'll kill her. Yeah, we'll kill her. And she meant it. She meant it. Natarl meant it. But Maru and Mu didn't. All right, so point is this. So once Lacus is on board the Archangel, Flay hates it because suddenly Kira is instinctually infatuated with Lacus from the moment it's not the boyhood lust he had for Flay. It's something about her that he is just instantly connected to, and he sits with her and they talk, and Kira shares his stories with her. So much so that later on Lacus can impart those stories to Athrun, and that's a massive turning point in part 2 of the season, where Lacus is now in full Lacus mode. So what she does is she interferes Flay, and Flay hates it and Flay, didn't she at one point pull a gun on Lacus?
I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe
she did
pull a gun because she you're right. She's full on racist. Like after seeing her father die, she does not give a fuck. She's been seeing all this stuff. She only cares about herself, and she wants all coordinators to die. Yeah. So she even hates Lacus, but Lacus is trying to find the nice parts of her.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, she pulls a gun on Lacus, but she realizes that while Lacus is there, she's losing influence over Kira. Because she wants to talk to Kira's like, no, sorry, I got to go talk to Lacus. I got to hang out with Lacus now. And eventually, though, Kira learns what they're going to do. That Badger Rule has kind of pushed the issue too far. And he manages to smuggle Lacus out and hand her back over to Athrun. They arrange that. And that's at one of Athrun's first speeches of, they're using you. Come with us. Come back to your own people, blah, blah, blah. And Kira's like, no, I got to protect people. You need to understand this. Can't abandon them. And now I'm trying to remember, again, because the first part of Gundam Seed always blurs together for me because I've seen it so many times.
And let's be fair, the first part of Gundam Seed, it's broken up into like 3 parts where
it's very procedural.
It's very procedural until they kind of get
until they land on Earth. Yeah, when they get
I'd say out of the desert.
Well, the desert's important because you meet another fantastic character, the Desert.
I'll say this. The reason why I say out of the desert is because you have the same kind of thing in OG where they land in the exact same desert. You have you don't have the desert tiger, but you have somebody who's connected to
listen,
Char and who is their princesses.
Here's the thing. Andrew Waltfeld is one of the best characters in this entire franchise.
Fantastic character.
Andrew Waltfeld is he's just perfect.
I don't know how. I was just saying, I don't know how he fucking survived, but
he lost an arm, okay, and he has scars over one side of his face. He took damage.
He took damage, and
His girlfriend didn't make it though. She did make it. Yeah. She did not make it. And just for note, the picture that he keeps of her, yeah, she's topless in that. There's boob in that picture. She's naked. That's a good picture. Anyway, all right. So after Lacus gets released, they tried to bargain the freedom for that, but it didn't work. And they managed to link up with the major fleet, which of Earth forces, which gets annihilated. Zath forces are just superior in every way, shape, or form, except for the Gundams.
I will say when they meet up with the major fleet, that's when you also get Kira like fully starting to break down. And Flay is being a cunt.
Yeah, and yeah, well, he's sleeping inside the strike to get away from her. She's so oppressive. It comes to a point where he realizes what he has with her is completely unhealthy. So he's hiding out in the strike.
I disagree.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I view it as he feels so like he's so important. Like he is so necessary that he needs to be in the strike at all times.
Yeah, see, I've always interpreted that as he was so uncomfortable around her after up to a point there. And now he gets over it because when we're in the desert, he has the whole kicking size ass thing when he's
and that's where my point, like he feels comfortable in the strike, but that's because he feels like he needs to constantly be in there.
Well, I think maybe there's a halfway point between what we're both thinking, because there is a couple conversations where Flay's trying to find him and he's purposefully avoiding her, and he's hiding in the strike. Because he doesn't always need to be in strike, because due to Mu's very wise advice, he locks the strike operating system down so that only he can use it. Because when they finally reconnect with Earth forces, they try to take the strike, but they can't because it's literally locked into Kira. Only he can use it. So now I forget when he actually triggered seed mode for the first time in all this. That's why I say it blurs together, because there comes a point where I think it's shortly after he's effing Flay, where he's pressured by the other Gundams, by the Aegis, the Blitz, and the Duel. They're all pressuring him, and I think even the Busters there too. They're all there, or maybe one of them is being occupied by Mu. So it's always usually a 3-on-1, and Mu is occupying one of the other ones. Anyway, he's under such pressure, and this is also where they're talking about the metaphor, the analogy of a berserker, someone who's peaceful and nice and calm, but in the midst of war, flips the switch and becomes a bloodthirsty monster, an animal, a destroyer of everything. And that's the episode where Kira's pushed to the limit, the absolute limit. And he can't possibly, even with his advanced coordinator reflexes, he cannot possibly save himself and save the Archangel and save something else at the same time. And he's literally in two or three places at once. So he reaches and he breaks through and he limit break. He goes into what I have always called seed mode.
Seed mode is an accurate depiction. I don't remember what they called it in the show, but it is.
They never call it anything. They don't call it anything. It's
they imply it's
the seeds.
Something.
The children who have the seeds. And I've ever since for 20 years, I've called it seed mode. And eventually for Kira, it's God mode. Eventually, it's God mode. Especially in Destiny, it's God mode. Freedom. He gets pushed, but there's a lot of extenuating circumstances in Freedom. Extenuating circumstances. Why Kira's God mode is malfunctioning in Freedom. But in Seed right now, he flips into Seed mode, and suddenly his reflexes are doubled, and he's able to fully draw out the maximum potential of the strike. And he's literally able to do the most minute of things, like tilt that shield just enough to deflect, but get a counterattack, maximize the engines to just below breaking point to get enough thrust to defend the Archangel, to shoot a shot, a perfect deflection. He does the impossible. And Seed mode in the beginning takes his toll on him because he's like breathing heavy, sweating heavy. Because in there, early on, it takes pressure for Seed mode to activate. Later on, Seed mode, you can just push the button and he activates it. But that's experience. And that's what I love. Seed mode is not an automatic thing. In the beginning, it has to be, essentially, you have to build up your limit break before he masters it later on. But right now, and it's essentially, and he does an incredible feat, and he keeps doing it over and over again. He becomes known as the ace of the series. And So I mean, I've been going on about this. So, but I mean, Dermy, do you want to jump in on this stuff? Because I realize I'm
Well, like,
fanboying. I'm fanboying.
No,
here.
I mean, I don't disagree with anything you've been saying. I'm trying to so you get seed mode, you get all that stuff. I want to kind of focus in on after they meet up with the crew, and this is just the main fleet, and this is like trying to show like the manipulation that Flay's doing, some of the tactics that are going on here, and some of the mental stress that is going on with Kira. And when they meet up with the main fleet, everybody and Kira's crew, they are offered the chance to go home.
Yes.
You can discharge now, go home, join everybody else, and just say bye to it all. And Kira's going to take that. That's his original plan, was to go out and take that. And through the manipulation put on by
Flay and the little girl, Flay and the little girl.
Flay and the little girl, because there's this innocent little girl that's been on there.
Are we going home now?
Yeah, the vast majority of the time, this sweet little girl who you see her just do simple stuff. When it came to the water supply, you see her fill up water. When you see, there's times where she's making little
They led you down this road.
They led you down to this road where you're like, oh, she's a sweet little girl. Nothing crazy is going to happen. But you see, and you even have Flay and her at one point in time.
Don't worry,
interacting.
Kira's going to save us all.
Yep, and she squeezes that little girl's hand. So you end up, this little girl basically connected with Kira, and she hands him this little paper flower, and with him seeing that, after he's gonna go home, he's gonna leave with all of them. He's leaving, but that
re-energizes him. He's like,
it re-energizes him, and he decides, okay, I'm gonna do what Flay's pushing me to do. I'm gonna go do the whole save everybody and protect everybody, and you get this really good battle. Even though the Earth Forces are getting annihilated, it's really good animation.
Because
even though they're reusing similar scenes over and over again,
Seed does that all the time. You just have to accept it. They're going to reuse
most mech animes do it all the time.
And I mean,
it's so top
the other Gundams annihilate that fleet.
It's a beautiful animation scene, tragic, and at the very end, the refugees are on the main Earth Force ship.
Well, they're on a shuttle pilot. They're on a shuttle heading towards
the shuttle. Yeah. But the shuttle's
the
on
shuttle Kira would have been on.
Yeah, the shuttle Kira would have been on.
Yeah,
is there?
He's fighting
Archangel's going down. Everybody's trying to.
Well, let's tell you something going on. The entire fleet, the admiral who was Maru's mentor, who was also the engineer of the entire Gundam program for Earth Forces. He was the impetus behind it. He has decided to sacrifice his entire fleet to make sure that the Archangel can reach Earth and get to Alaska base. Yeah, I'm going to sacrifice everything. And the Archangel has gel technology that can be deployed to allow for Earth entry. Because most ships, once they're in space, they're in space. They can't go back down. But the Archangel has the technology to go back and forth with what they built in on a large scale. Small shuttles have it, but large ships generally don't. So the Archangel has to descend. And once you reach a certain point, there's a point of no return. And Kira is left out battling the duel and I think the Blitz is there too. The duel, the Buster, and the Blitz. Because Atherin's not there at that fight. Atherin isn't there. He was taking Lacus back to the plants.
I think it's only the duel and the Buster that he was battling.
The Blitz might be there too. I don't know. Either way,
it's not the Blitz because it's not the Blitz. The Blitz is also back at either with La Crusade or is back at the plants because the only two that land on Earth prior to
you're right. Well,
Atherin and them are
Izak. I know Atherin isn't there because he's took Lacus back to Aprilius. But so it's essentially Kira's fighting Izak, and he goes seed mode. And he's kicking their ass. And Izak is so butthurt about getting his ass kicked again by Kira. And remember, at this point, Izak has a scar across his face that Kira gave him in a previous engagement that he refuses to get healed because he's so bitter about it. But what he does is, in frustration, and this is what Dermy's talking about, in frustration, and they led us down this road. They led us down this road on purpose.
I didn't think they were going to do it.
The shuttle, which should not have been released from the ship That's a mistake by Maru. Shouldn't let those civilians off the ship.
Well, I think if memory serves, the civilians were on the captain's ship.
No, they hadn't. They were on the Archangel, and because Kira's on the Archangel, he was going to get on that shuttle because they were going to disembark and get on the Admiral's ship. They were going to join the Admiral's ship and be taken home to another colony. Problem is, so what happens though is Isaac, out of pure spite, as the shuttle crosses,
soldiers too.
He thinks it's. That's why I said I don't blame him, but it's spite. He sees the shuttle come from. He says, "Oh, you want some of this too?" And he just shoots the shuttle. And Kira knows that the little girl's on there, and Kira watches the blow up, and that breaks.
They show you the little girl blowing up.
Yeah,
they don't show you the blood and gore, but they show.
Well, they show her vaporized. She gets vaporized.
They show the fire engulf her and get vaporized,
which is kind of a that's going to be a staple for the rest of the series. People getting engulfed by flames and vaporized. That as they go, that's going to happen a lot.
And to put this in perspective, Gundam's known for doing some awful things.
Yeah.
Okay, some very tragic things, showing stuff. I don't believe at that point you saw something that dark.
No, not yet. I mean, you've seen
not in Gundam history.
Adults have died, but that's the war. I mean, Flay's dad died, all these people died. But in this, you just watch that little girl get vaporized on the shuttle, and that just breaks Kira mentally for a while there because he couldn't save her. And it's an important thing because suddenly it's that lesson. You can't save everybody. And this is war. It's ugly. It's disgusting. It's brutal. And innocents are going to die.
And that's what fully breaks Kira.
Yeah.
Is that
because then also at that moment, they're past the point of no return. He can't get through. He can't get to the Archangel in time to get on board. So he has to go through re-entry in the strike. And he survives.
Because he's a coordinator.
He survives, but he crash lands, and this is where he gets picked up. We meet the, I believe he gets picked up by the priest, right? Or is that later?
No, that's much later.
Oh, that's later. Yeah,
the duel.
Yeah. That's later because we're not near Orb. Yeah, the priest lives near Orb. Yeah, we're not there yet. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, but they managed to rescue him, and he's going to go through a little of a fever. I mean, because the reentry was too hot. You know,
it was too hot. So he.
But they make it a point to say. They make it a point to say if he wasn't a coordinator, he wouldn't have survived. Yeah, he only survives because he's a coordinator. And now we're on part 2 of part 1. That's the second half of this first part of this of the thing. We've done with space. Now standard motif, like you said, we're on Earth. We get Earth play now. And I love everything with the Desert Tiger. No, all that stuff is great because Andrew Waltfeld is such a great. Mm-hmm. He's not a villain. He's just an antagonist.
Andrew Waltfeld is a perfect example that you think all coordinators and everybody in Zaft are jackasses because that's all you've been seeing is the evil people. Andrew Waltfeld is your first example that not all of Zaft is the way they depict it.
Yeah, because he's reasonable. Mm-hmm. And he's just a military man. He's not a psychopath. He's doing what he's ordered to do. And he also does love the thrill of the fight a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now on there we encounter the Bakus, the very canine mechs, and they own the desert. And once again, Kira's brilliant. He manages to other mobile suits can't function in the desert because the weight sinks in the sand. Well, Kira's so goddamn smart, he reorganizes the operating system to adjust for pressure so that he can operate on the sand like it's perfectly fine. And he just starts annihilating Bakus left and right. As they progress until they meet up, we get reintroduced to Kigali. We're just going to call it Kigali right now. We're not going to go full name because that's second half. That's towards the second half, the end. Oh, no, wait, no, we reach Orb in this half. Yeah, we reach Orb in this half.
Yeah, we reach Orb in this half. So, because it goes...
Yeah.
Remember, first half is space, desert, Orb 1, duel.
Yeah, Orb 1, duel. So, we meet Kigali Yula Atha. The adopted daughter...
Yula Atha yet.
She's Kigali. Yeah, you're right. I keep calling that's me watching Destiny so many years. Kigali Atha, yeah. Kigali Atha. She's part of the Atha family, adopted daughter who is the essentially chairman, the leader of Orb, the elected leader of Orb, the Atha family. She's been dispatched to help essentially freedom fighters in the desert fighting against the Zaft forces in that area.
If memory serves, she wasn't dispatched.
Well,
She left
she
willingly
left. You know what I
because
mean?
she was
Yeah.
not
You're
happy
right. You're right.
with
Wrong
her
choice of
father.
words.
Yeah.
Wrong
She
choice of
wasn't
words.
happy with her father actually going out there working to
Well,
make the Gundams. She was not
yeah.
enjoying that. And then, but she does end up. So she was on the initial colony. She then Kira puts her into an escape pod. You see her escape, but then you don't see her again. But she's always in the intro and the outro, and you're like, "Who's this blonde little girl?" You end up meeting her again in the desert, and you figure out she's Kigali. She's helping out these freedom fighters. You still know there's something special about her that she can't just be a normal freedom fighter.
Like you said at the beginning of the first episode, you said, "Father, I can't believe you betrayed us by making these." Because you have to understand, we'll talk about it in a bit. The Atha's Orb is super neutral. They are the neutral of neutral countries. No, you do not attack. We do not attack unless we are attacked. We will defend ourselves. Now they have the best technology in the entire series. Orb tech is even better than Zaft tech. They got to steal from Orb to make shit. Yeah, the Astray. So the Orb has the best. They are. That is where the Gundam tech comes from. The geniuses at Orb. Morgenstern. Morgan Wright. Morgenstern. I'm thinking of Rosencrantz and Morgan Wright. That's the company's Morgan Wright. It's Morgan Wright. So she is Kigali, and she has gone to try and fight, even though Orb's not supposed to. Kigali is a very conflicted character at this point in the series. She wants to fight, but she also believes in the neutrality of Orb, and she can't quite grasp her conflicting emotions on this stuff.
I would, yeah, that's a good example. There's also some really weird stuff going on, especially when they first have Kira and Kigali essentially meet. What's his name? We just said his name. Walfeld.
Yeah,
because how they meet is so like you've been going through raps. They've been going through various like other adventures in the desert. You meet the freedom fighters who are trying to fight back against Zaft.
And Izak and Diarca are on the ground now, so they're back. There's fights going on.
But they're not allowed to deploy because Walfeld won't let them deploy.
Yeah,
their big issue right now, like the main force, is they need to get past Walfeld. So as there's some usual back and forth, there's a really unique thing where Walfeld goes to like the home of the freedom fighters, burns it down, destroys their food, but doesn't kill everybody to leave.
Yeah,
warns everybody to leave. So you see that there's something unique with him. But as time goes on, you end up having Warfeld and Kira and then Kigali. They all meet while eating.
What happens is they're eating wraps and they're arguing to Kira about what to put on it. During that, though, some other freedom fighters try to assassinate Walfeld, and he protects them. And Kigali gets covered in food during that. So they bring her back to his place, and his girlfriend gives her a fresh dress. They all dolls her up, and it's the first time Kigali really is made to look as feminine as she is. And Kira goes, "You're a girl."
It is a good moment because it also shows that Kigali, she's kind of attractive when she wants to be.
Kigali can get glammed up. She can get glammed up if she wants to.
But what was also really cool about that scene, other than the whole like kind of you're a girl, and then Kigali beating up on Kira.
Well, of course I am.
Yeah, is Walfeld knew that it was Kira and Kigali the entire time.
Oh yeah,
and he puts him in this unique spot where he kind of mentors Kira in a weird way.
He wants to teach him the lesson about when to kill, and and why to kill, is what it is. And he puts important thoughts in Kira's brain, which comes to a head where he lets them go, and eventually because they're going to end up fighting, and that's a brilliant duel because Walfeld is as experienced as he is. Once Kira's in seed mode in the strike, he's unbeatable. And he's able to beat him. And then Walfeld looks like he sacrifices himself because it's like my girlfriend's dead. She's his co-pilot in his special Baku, and he basically says, "I've done my part. I don't need to go on. I'm a soldier. I'm a warrior. I'm going to die on the battlefield where I should die. But he doesn't. He's going to come back.
A good thing, like he starts a change for Kira that needs to happen.
To think for himself.
Mm-hmm.
Kira, this is the point where Kira learns he needs to make his own decisions and not be manipulated or influenced by others.
Where that's something that Mu was trying to impose on him, but Walfeld did it in a better way.
Mm-hmm.
You end up like there's these key figures throughout Kira's entire journey that they're the mentor for Kira. Because Kira needs those little pushes and those little nudges to figure out what's really happening. Because Mu helps guide him throughout the beginning of the war. Training him and trying to understand, like, hey, you need to fight. You're going to have to kill. Yeah. Walfeld tells him you don't always have to kill. There's targets that you can and can't kill, but you also need to remember that killing is a reality within war. And then part 2 is where we get the real mentorship from our number 1 girl.
Yeah. But with Walfeld, he also, like I said, he gives that extra thing is you need to start thinking for yourself, kid. You need to make decisions for yourself. You cannot let others, because listen, look what I had to do. I didn't want to do this. Other people made me fight this war. I managed to fight it in my way to minimize innocent lives killed, but I still have to fight it. You, with your power, you have the ability to make the choice for yourself where nobody is going to tell you what to do. And that's the thought that begins in Kira. Now, between this, they're going to escape the desert, all that stuff, and now Athrun returns to Earth. He gets on Earth during this time, his father, Patrick Zala, has basically done a political coup, not a violent coup, a political coup. The violence comes later. The political coup where he is now the chairman of the plants, yet also the supreme commander of Zaft. And he is now going hard line, and he has no respect for his son. He thinks his son is weak. He thinks Athrun is weak, like his mother. And he now sends him back to Earth with orders to take control, to try and capture the strike. And the whole thing. Point is, a lot of things are going on, but Athrun's going to go back to Earth, and now we get another important interaction. During the adventures, we're going to have several things happen. The strike is still the main defender of the Archangel, but now since they're in Earth's atmosphere with gravity, Mu cannot pilot the mobile armor anymore, so they switch to what are called the Sky Graspers, basically fighter jets. And there's 2 of them on board. One, and both can be equipped with strike weapons. They can be equipped. So Mu can fly one, and there's a flight simulator on the Archangel training with. And Kira's best friend, Tal, Mirielia's boyfriend, is training to join them in the fray. Now, he's just supposed to be up there in support. And Kigali also wants to fly around it too. So Kigali's only supposed to be in there in light support. So during one particular fight, Kigali her Skygrasper gets damaged, and she crash lands on an island. At the same time, during that fight, Athrun's Aegis runs out of energy, and he lands on that same island. Now, both of them have sent up distress signals, and it's a race of time who's going to get there first. And this is now the meeting between Athrun and Kigali. So, Dermy, I know you're a big Athrun and Kigali fan.
I am a huge Athrun and Kigali fan.
Why don't you walk us into Athrun and Kigali?
So, similar to how, like, Lacouse and Kira are, like, they're meant for each other. Kigali and Athrun are meant for each other. Where you've already kind of shown it. Athrun, he's a trained soldier who doesn't like to fight, and Kigali's all really about, like, Orb's ideals, and she's an idealist, even though she's kind of going off.
Oh, she's a massive idealist.
She's an idealist, but she's also kind of conflicted because she wants to fight as well.
Yeah. So
you end up having their first real interaction together, where they're trapped on this. They're trapped on this island. You don't know how they're going to go back and forth. You get Athrun capturing Kigali. Kigali at one point in time tried to kill Athrun. They have this back and forth. And then it starts to rain. They get into a cave to try to dry off and stuff. And you get some underboob from Kigali and some panty shots. But you see their interactions. And it's I'm not going to say it's similar to...
Oh, it's different. It's a completely different introduction. They're amused by each other.
They're amused by each other, but there's also, like... I'm trying to put it into words. Like the way
Well-
they
well-
interact
well,
is
It's similar to Kira and Lacus coming together first.
Mhm.
They are now each learning about the other to tell the other, because Kigali is now at another portal of Atherin's view to what Kira is going through.
Mhm.
Because Kigali, at this point, she and Kira are friends. Now, not ironically, wrong choice of words. Interestingly enough, it's the first time Kira comes in contact with a girl where there's zero sexual tension. There's none. Because somehow instinctually they know.
they
somehow
know something very
instinctually
interesting about
they
each
know.
other.
Instinctually they know, hey, listen, let's not be attracted to each other.
There's certain bonds that it shows that some guys and girls are just perfect for each other in a platonic way.
Yeah, but they somehow click. Kira and Kigali are able to easily talk with each other. So much so that because Flay only sees any other girl as a threat to her sexual control over Kira, she flips out. At one point, she comes onto the deck of the Archangel. She's all like tied up where her tits are popping out. Hi, Kira. Want to go for a walk? And Kira's like, but I was just chilling with Kigali. But oh, look, my tits are out. Let's go.
I going back a little bit, like Kigali helps kind of break Kira out of Flay's control as well, kind of like Lacus was, but in a different way. Where you're right, it's platonic, but it's a different.
Lacus is a calm. What are you doing? Kigali's a slap.
Yeah,
Kigali's a slap. Wake up.
Kigali's she's the Gal of the group. Let's be real fair here. Kigali and Gal are the same fucking person.
But Kigali but she has her own problems. She's a good influence on Kira, but she has her own tons of problems, which really don't come out until Destiny. Kigali's problems are on full display in Destiny as opposed to Seed,
where her ideals are really challenged.
Yeah, and honestly, she's a terrible character in Seed. I mean, Destiny. She's terrible.
I like her. I still like her in Destiny, but it's
she's
like
such a fucking retard in Destiny.
It's like just figure it the fuck out, woman. Just figure it the fuck out.
It's like grow the fuck up. Grow the fuck up. Essentially,
it's one of those. It's jumping to Destiny. It's a moment of where like ideals have to be challenged, and somebody has to deal with that.
With not getting ahead of ourselves, we can't help it. It's a situation of somebody who wasn't ready but was put in the position.
Yeah,
she was not ready to be in the position she was in Destiny. She gets there, but she wasn't ready. All right, back to the present. But when she meets Athrun, it's different than Kira and Lacus, because with Athrun, Kigali is another realistic reality call, wake-up call to Athrun. Athrun is questioning everything, because we haven't talked about Athrun that much. This might be a good point to go into Athrun right now. As the other protagonist of this series.
You think he's an antagonist, but he's not.
No, he's the other protagonist. He's the other half of it. Athrun's whole struggle is he wants to protect his home, but he's not a radical like his father and others. And he is trying to define himself in all of it. Just like Kira's trying to find himself, Athrun knows who he is, but he's still trying to define who and what he is. Athrun Zala, there's a line in the second half. Lacus is one of my best lines. Athrun Zala, soldier of Zaft. It's a line that later on is so powerful to Athrun. And Kigali is one of those people that says, are you just a soldier or are you something more?
I think the more I think about it, it's also like Lacus and Kira are Lacus and Kira. Fuck you. You're making me say the wrong name.
Because that's how it was said for 20 years.
Whatever. Lacus and Kira are meant for each other because the way their personalities is kind of like Lacus is very calm, but knows how to play the political game, where that's kind of similar to how Kira is. He's a little bit more emotional, but at the same time, he can be calm, and he's the soldier of the group. Where when you look at Kigali and we literally just said Athrun, you see that they're the same side they're two sides to the same coin, where they both care about their home. They want to protect their home at all costs. So they see the different sides of each other within one another. That's why they work so well together. They can bounce off each other.
That's a good point.
Where you also have Kigali at one point in time almost attempting to kill Athrun again in the
Yeah.
cave, and then crying because she can't even bring herself to kill him.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good point. They're the coin of we want to protect our homes, where Kira and Lacus are all about we want peace.
Mhm.
It's not just about protecting your homes, it's about protecting peace and innocence and people. So there's two different levels of the story going on here. So, but we have Kigali and Athrun come together, and this is all the things that's going to start to change after, because Kigali's going to talk about Kira, but Athrun's not going to know she's talking about Kira, her friend that's fighting, that's struggling, that's having a hard time. It's going to come back around very soon because they're going to get picked up, and then we're into Orb and the disaster surrounding Orb. Such a great theme, the Orb theme. We'll talk about it a little bit later on. Best soundtrack in Gundam history. These all see Destiny and Freedom.
I was about to say I was not gonna say Orb has the best soundtrack.
No, I'm saying I'm saying the entire. I have multiple. I have it all. I have it all. I have all the soundtracks.
I listen to Meteor a lot. I listen to a lot of songs
and also just some of the best intros. Some of the best songs, especially Destiny, has some of the best ones. We'll talk about that. And now when we get to Destiny, I will talk about how in the original television airing, the original fourth opening is not what you get in the remaster.
The remaster is so much.
That's the different. That's the insert song that they actually changed over, because what they did in that one, when they put out Final Plus, the actual, not original television ending, but the actual real ending, they changed it to that opening. That's the opening of Final Plus. So when they remastered it all, that's the one they used for that. That is one of my favorite tracks of all time for writing. I use that in writing. That track is a brilliant freaking track. Well, there's also another interesting thing I'll talk about in the original Destiny DVD releases. When we get there, I'll talk about the use of that, and then how they changed it in the remaster. They swapped a couple things out, and that's one of the times where the Japanese voice Japanese version has a leg up on the dub in some ways, because there's certain use of songs. They use the insert song so much better. They leave the lyrics in. In the dubs, they take the lyrics out, and it sounds different. It doesn't work as well. Anyway, back to the present. So now we're in Orb, and this is where everything comes to a head for the first half of this series, where Orb doesn't want to get involved, but the Athas did get involved. Kigali's father did get involved by building the Gundams.
The Lion of Orb.
Yeah. And you've got, at first, this time around, it's Zaft waiting to get in. This shit's going to get replayed multiple times throughout the entire series. Orb, always at the center because of its ideals. Might get a little tiring, but it still always kind of makes sense in the end. But now everybody's going to be trapped there. Everybody's going to get rebuilt. Now they're going to get all the information that Kira's been using. This is important. They're going to get all the information that Kira's been gathering through the strike to now refine the Marasms and the Astrays. Actually, the Marasms are in Destiny.
Marasms haven't been shown right now. It's just the Astrays, because they have their own Astray units.
Yeah, so they use that to refine. They use that to refine the operating system so anybody can use it, which will then be stolen by Earth forces to make their daggers, to make the strike daggers. It's great. It's fantastic. But Zaft is out there. The La Crusade team and they're all out there. And during this period of time, several battles. But a most important thing is this, though. Several important encounters happen. You talked about the emotional thing between Kira and Flay, where Kira essentially is going to break up with Flay. He's going to break up with him. He says, listen, we can't do this anymore. You're toxic. You are toxic to me. This is the influence of Waltfeld and Kigali and Lacus. All these voices have now, Kira's starting to become his own man. And he says, you can't do this anymore. And they break up, and it breaks her. And because she's, you're dumping me? What are you doing? She rages. During this period of time, well, though, Athrun and the Zala team now, consisting of Athrun, Izak, Nickel, and Diarca, they slip into Orb for recon. And Kira and Athrun have an encounter. And it's so important because
Birdie's the one that starts it.
it's Birdie, but it's basically a friend gave me this. And Kira saying, "You're still my friend." After saying, "Am I your friend? Are you still my friend? Am I still your friend? Oh, you're still my friend." It's this back. It's a great conversation of them being human. Them being human. And realizing we can maybe still come to terms with each other. There's a way out of this. Problem is, events are going to spiral out of control. Because now, Orb is going to... Go ahead.
Orb essentially has to throw them out, even though they're not being thrown out. But they're being thrown out, but they're not being thrown out.
There's a great line. Orb is known for their accuracy. And they shoot and they miss.
It's this whole thing of like... This is one of the parts of Orb I love the fucking most is they'll openly they don't take a side. They have their own side, but they like to show to the rest of the world that they have a side. They like to show to the rest of the world they don't have a side.
Yeah, but and also
it's this great political dynamic that they have there at Orb. Which yes, it gets annoying in Destiny, but I just love Orb.
It's just annoying in Destiny because Kigali's annoying.
Yeah,
that's why it's annoying.
Agree with that. But like Orb is this. It's a slice of heaven, I'm gonna say. Like in this world of Gundam, where you see, Zaft, and you see what's up in the plants, and the plants are pretty nice. The plants are pretty nice. You haven't really seen a whole lot of Earth forces and how Earth forces interact with each other, but you see Orb, and it's this moment of
it's Japan.
Everybody's just
it's Japan. It's Japan.
It is Japan. Everybody's just working together, and you're like, I love this.
It's the Japan stand-in for the series. But now if you're watching the remasters, you will see certain clips during this. You will see quick clips of Destiny characters. You'll see the Hawk sisters, and you will see Shin and his family at certain points. You will see.
You'll see a lot of stuff.
That's the remastered because they slipped that in there when all is said and done during the remaster. So they're in there.
It's probably a smart idea. That's a smart idea if you think about it.
Oh yeah, because during part 2, during the Battle of Orb, at the end of they show Shin. They show the scene, the big parts of the scene that starts off Destiny. They show it. They interspiced it in there. And you know, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Anyway, so they get kicked out, and the massive battle ensues. And at one point, Kira goes, the first time he really goes Seed God mode. He annihilates the duel in Izak. Just annihilates him. He destroys the Buster to a point that it crash lands, and it gets picked up by the Archangel. And Diarca is now held prisoner. He's a prisoner of war. But we get to the island, and now communications are open, and Kira and Athrun are going at each other verbally while they're starting to fight, but they're not really going at hard. But then, like a freaking idiot, Tall gets involved in the fight in the Sky Grasper.
It's not Tall yet.
No, Tall. Nickel first, then Tall? I thought it was
Nickel first, then Tall.
Oh yeah,
because
Nickel dies in the first battle. You're right. Nickel dies.
Yeah.
There's multiple. I'm sorry. There's multiple battles. What happens is there's multiple battles, and Kira is fighting with Athrun, and Nickel, who took some damage from Kira, used his camouflage to try and get the drop on him. But Kira's in God mode, and he dodges it, and he just slices right through him. We have the first Gundam pilot death of the season, of the series.
And Nickel was... They also took the time to develop Nickel.
Right, for one episode right before it. Right before it. He never want to fight. He's just a pianist. He just wants to write his music. He had his own hopes and dreams. He wasn't a warrior, but he wanted to fight for his country. And he was Athrun's friend. His good friend.
Really good friend. And he was kind of like the moral arbiter of the Love Crusade team.
The Zala Love Crusade teams, yeah. And they hated him. The others hated him because they called him weak. Like Diarca and Izak were constantly bullying him.
But Athrun was super close with him. That's why it's so it honestly hurts watching him die. And then
they had a duet. I mean, Nickel could play the piano and Athrun would play the violin. So
it sucks watching him die because you're like,
I know you deserve it.
He didn't deserve it,
but it's war.
It's war, and that causes Athrun to lose.
That breaks Athrun. because
That
now
breaks
Athrun, because now when they retreat, and you get one of those things where Nickel gets cut and you see the face. You don't see his face, but it explodes, and you see the blood behind the visor as
You see
Kira
just
just
how
slices through. And this is, you can't blame Kira. It's literally, that's a combat. It's a righteous kill, for lack of a better term. It's a righteous kill. It was kill or be killed. Nickel tried to kill Kira, and now
Nickel got in the way of the fucking beam. That's what it was.
He sliced him. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, boom, you're dead. You're over. And that was then Athrun. Now, this is why the Kigali Athrun conversation is so important, because that led to Athrun and Kira talking in Orb, and Athrun was going to soften a little bit, but then Kira cuts down Nickel in battle, and Athrun's like, now I'm going to kill Kira. I am going to kill my best friend. Yeah, and that's when. So now you jump to the next battle where they're on the island. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Now they're on the island, separated from the Archangel and all that stuff that's going on, where Diarca where Nickel's been not Nickel. Izak's been shot down. Diarca's been captured as along with the Buster, and now Kira and Athrun on an island fighting, and they are yelling at each other, because what happens is, as they're fighting, Tall comes zooming in. Kira, I'm here to help. And Athrun throws his shield.
Athrun did that on purpose. He
did that. That was rage. He threw his shield, and you see the shield rip through the cockpit and just annihilate Tall.
You see his head fly off.
Yeah. It just goes right through. It's gruesome, and that breaks Kira, and now they're yelling at each other. You killed Nickel. You killed Tall. They both go seed mode. Athrun goes seed mode for the first time, but Kira's winning the fight. Kira is the stronger pilot, but Athrun will do whatever it takes, and he does a kind of standard thing that some Gundam pilots will do. He goes all out by using the grapple mechanism of the Aegis to grapple on, and he sets the self-destruct mode for Kira, for the Aegis to blow, and then he ejects, and he thinks he kills Kira by blowing up the strike.
We all thought he killed Kira. So let's be fair. We knew he didn't kill Kira, but you're sitting there wondering, how the fuck did he even survive this? Because the strike explodes, because at this point in time it's out of power.
Yeah,
the Aegis is out of power.
Both, yeah, it's desperation.
Yeah, they're both out of power. They strike. This was not a normal battle.
Kira has cut off both the Aegis's arms at this point.
The strike's been destroyed, beat up. Like, this was a vicious fucking fight.
I mean, the Aegis lost its head. That's one of the things. You will go back later in time, and on that island, the Aegis's head is still there. On that island, it's still there.
But through that massive explosion, you end up, the strike's gone. You think Kira's dead, even though you know he's not dead, but you think he's dead.
He's hurt, though. He's hurt.
Athrun's doing
Athrun gets captured.
Athrun gets captured, and he gets captured by Orb. But everybody thinks
Orb, Kigali. You're right. Kigali's still in Orb. I forgot it's Kigali. He gets captured by Orb, and this is where we're going to end it right here, because now you have a powerful moment where Kigali comes into his room, and she confronts him. Why did you kill Kira? He was just a nice guy. He didn't want to hurt anybody. He was your best friend. And after she's beating him, she blew up. Athrun's crying too,
because he just had to kill his best friend.
And it's a devastating. I mean, we're over. I think it's like episode. I think it's actually not episode 25. It's more like 26, 27.
It's about 26, 27 when this goes down. Yeah,
we're a little over halfway through the series. So, but this is the end of Act 1 essentially, or the not Act 1, but it's midway point. We are now at the midway point where everything starts to change.
You're at this perfect midway point. You have Athrun's now recovering in Orb custody, but you have Kigali hammering in on him. You're seeing everybody reacting to the thought that Kira's dead.
I mean, you got Mirielia. It's like, Tall can't be dead. Mirielia has a breakdown. We're going to get into that in the next time, where you have the fallout of everybody thinks Kira's dead. Everybody knows that Tall is dead, because they've thrown around terms like missing in action and what it means to these kids, and that it means they say early on in the show, everybody pretends they might be alive, but it really means somebody's dead. And you see Kira Yamato, MIA, Tall, MIA, and the Arca's imprisoned. He's being held captive by the Archangel. They've got the Buster. And now we leave off where, as you said, Atherin's in Orb custody. He's going to be released as Aft very quickly. The Archangel is on its way to Alaska base. La Crusade. Now we've had a lot. We haven't talked about everything Rao has been doing, because what Rao has been doing this entire time, it's kind of been off to the side.
It's been off to the side and more political based.
Yeah.
He's
the
making
second
moves.
half, because in the second half of the show, we're going to meet all the major players on Earth Forces, Blue Cosmos, and all that kind of stuff. We're going to Azrael. We're going to get introduced to Azrael and all that kind of thing right there. And we're going to learn that we're going to start to learn what Rao La Crusade has been doing and what he's setting up. And
we're also going to talk about my least favorite Gundam, the only Gundam I hate in all of Seed, because I hate the design. I hate it so much.
You don't like the Justice?
I think, yeah, is it the Justice? It's the one with the fucking giant orb around it. Forbidden, I think, is what it is.
Oh, the Forbidden. It might have Forbidden Abyss. Chaos Forbidden and Abyss.
It might have a scythe, and I love Gundams with scythe, but Jesus.
It's got the reflectors. It's got the reflectors, the plasma reflectors.
Yeah, but that giant fucking a disc. Oh god,
the Chaos Forbidden Abyss are fascinating, but that's next month. So here we are. Kira's MIA. Atherin's captured by Orb. The Archangel's on its way to Alaska. Finally, they're going to and Zaft is massing his forces at Gibraltar, because that's their base on Earth. That's their main base on Earth, and they're getting ready to attack Alaska. And there we are, part 1 of Gundam Seed Destiny complete. I think we did pretty well.
We did pretty well.
Yeah. Going over it.
Listen, we've already hinted at it. We could say Kira's alive, guys. We're just not going to tell you where he's at.
But now it gets good.
If you sit down and watch Seed, first half, I'd say
average Gundam. Average Gundam.
The first half is average Gundam, and if you do watch it in comparison to Universal Century, you will see shot-for-shot moments that are basically the same. A little difference here or there, chocolate, ice cream, hot fudge.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. But after that halfway point is where it really diverts. It goes on its own thing, and it starts identifying itself in its own unique style. It starts showing stuff that's very different than Universal Century, very different than what you got in the very original stuff. La Crusade might be a Char clone, but he ain't no Char. You get a lot of fucking great stuff, and you get some tragic moments where you're like, damn, because it just starts picking up after part 2, because you get mega battles that are impactful for the overall story to Seed. You get a battle in Alaska. You get another battle. You get a battle in Orb. You get the battle at the plants. You get some very important shit that has Jurassic ramifications moving onwards through all the way into Destiny and Freedom. And I'm trying to stall for time now just so Adam can get back here. But I highly suggest people watch Seed. I know the Strike is kind of ugly, but Strike Freedom is good. Well, it's Freedom. Freedom is top notch.
Yeah, you think the Freedom is the best it's ever going to get, and then you get better. Strike Freedom, and then you get the glory that is Strike Freedom. All right, so now we're going to end it here for our Gundam discussion, or for this time. But I do want to bring this up. I showed this to Dermy a couple of months ago, actually, and I've been saving it for this discussion right now because, listen, I don't get too many. In fact, I don't get any real Gundam games because I'm not really into playing them. But good gravy. I want this. Yes, you get to be your own pilot.
They have been introducing cool stuff like this, but this style I want.
Yeah.
Ooh, I want this.
Be natural or coordinator. Look at this! All the mobile suits from the entire series. And I like how they
I prefer when they do like their Gunpla games where you get to build your own unique Gundam.
I know, but I want to. I want to be. Look at that's a destroy. It's a destroy.
I want to be a destroy.
You need to be a mobile. There it is. There's freedom. Strike freedom.
Or it could be an Astray. Because I also love the looks of the Astrays. Oh, that fucking.
This is outstanding. I want this. I want this.
Most Gundam games have been very lackluster. They're usually like the Dynasty Warrior games. They're not very fancy. The Gunpla games are better because you do get to make your own unique Gundam.
Now, it looks like you can make some Gundams in this a little bit.
You can't. I'm willing to bet you can, but I'm willing to bet it's only two.
Limited.
Oh, that's the Estrella Red Frame, but it is Seed, but it's not canon. But it's probably only limited to Seed style Gundams. Where I'm like, I like to bring in all the Gundams.
Now, I like this. You can customize your buttons.
I do want to play this.
Oh, I want this bad. You stats. The Gundams are gonna have stats on them, dude.
I'm really.
Yeah.
If it's multiplayer, I know what we're gonna be playing for a while.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I am so co-oping this shit. Totally. 100 mobile suits.
And those are all Seed based. That's the only thing I'm not a huge fan of, but they're so cool. Oh, they're so cool.
Oh, there's the Gaia.
A red frame, which might not be canon, but it is such a good design.
I want this. So it's out this month. It's out on the
It's on
Switch
Steam.
It's on the Switch too as well. I would probably get it on the Switch. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Well,
I'd probably buy it on the Steam, honestly. What's the name of the game again? Because I want to see how much it's.
Oh, wait. Damn it, I had it. Mobile Suit Gundam Battle Destiny, I think it was called.
Seed Battle Dest.
Seed Battle Destiny.
I have it up on Steam right now. Let me see. It's only $40, and I'm seeing is it multiplayer? Is it multiplayer? It's only single player. Damn it!
I still want it.
I'm.
That's just like
I am adding to wish list.
Who cares if it looks like cheap Armored Core, Kel? We're weebs and we want our Gundams.
Yes, Kel. If this game was multiplayer, we would play the shit out of this on Saturday Charity.
Yeah.
Adam and I would geek out for fucking hours.
Yeah, I would do everything possible to get to unlock Strike Freedom. I would do everything possible. Anyway.
Honestly, I'd go for the Estrella Red Frame. I think the Estrella Red Frame is just.
I just love
the one that they had there, which again, it's not canon, but it's so fucking good looking. It's katana based. It's so sleek, and it looks so much better than the other Estrellas. I want that one.
All right. Well, we've been going out for 2 hours, and this is essentially a very Gundam-oriented show. So I don't really want to. Do you want to look the One Piece live action trailer thing? Do you really want to do that?
So it really wasn't a One Piece live action trailer. It's a teaser for a teaser.
Yeah. Let's talk about that when we get the actual trailer. I think that's fair.
We can do that.
All right. So let's wrap it up. I feel good wrapping it up. I don't really have any other topics anyway. It's summer of Gundam.
It's summer of Gundam, and I'm fine geeking out about Gundam.
All right, Dermy, what's your week look like rest of the week?
Well, tomorrow we got Ballbusters. I don't have a video planned out because this week's been kind of lacking for topics. I haven't I might have been on stream yesterday with Camelot. I've only gotten like the first kind of half of the cancellation thing there. I haven't had a chance to watch Camelot's stream in which he goes over a lot of the evidence and like some of the stuff that the other people that are involved with that con are dealing with. So if I'm going to make a video on that, I want all that information. I don't want just part of it, especially with how my videos are designed now. I kind of need all that information.
And that's in your realm. You cover that stuff. So that's something you cover, that kind of stuff. So.
And I said this to Cam's face. I'm not his biggest fan. Okay. I said it to him on stream. Him getting canceled is fucked up.
Cancellation especially is wrong
with
no
how,
matter what.
Especially with how they canceled him, which is fucking retarded.
It's not cool. So
Adam, they canceled him because he has a Trump meme in his stream and he said ass to mouth.
Well,
That is retarded.
We've all said that in one way, shape, or form at some point.
It is clinically retarded. So yeah, I am working on a video there. I need the other half of the information before I can make that
That's
proper
fair.
video.
Hey, you're doing your research.
Yes.
That's important.
I try to do
guys. Rule number 1: don't talk about shit you don't know. Make sure you know all your shit. It's one thing to do a hot take on a stream. It's another thing if you're making a full-on video. Do your research. Just that simple. Do your research.
And especially with how I've been doing my videos now, if you guys go watch them, I'm trying to be more informative. I have my funny jokes in there, but I try to give a well-rounded thought process there as well. We do have Ballbusters tomorrow. Theo Snodgrass is going to be the guest this time.
Okay.
He was retarded last time, and we're going to shame him on stream about being retarded. So he will be there. Saturday, I'm not going to do a Saturday charity. If I do, it's going to be super late, but I'll be on Project Egg Roll stream. So
yeah, we're going to be playing co-op that night. We're killing heretics and killing bugs.
And if I do a stream, it's going to be Red Dead because I want to play more Red Dead.
Fair.
Then Sunday is going to be the end of Doctor Who. Hopefully, if it's either Sunday or it's going to be Monday, I'm going to put that video out.
I just don't want to do it anymore. It's boring.
I want it. I'm ready for it to be.
Nobody cares. This thing, nobody cares.
I pissed off the stands. The stands are aggravated because they know the truth.
Oh, they know it's ending. Anyway, all right. So as for me, you guys know, join me tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, for another daily dive. The double D's and all the other good stuff goes along with it. So thank you all for watching us tonight, whether live or on the replay. We hope you had a good time. We'll be back next month for part 2 of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed. Oh. Dun,
it gets so much better.
Dun, 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 dun. I love it. All right, everybody. You all ready? Have a good night. Oh, like just stream elements real quick. Oh, no. Okay, we're good there. All right, everybody. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. Until then, take it easy.